In this video, boys, we got a different style of video. I'm going to be ranking the best obtainable point guards right now in NBA 2K25 My Team on a tier list here ranging from S that does go down to D tier, and we have about 30-ish of the best obtainable point guards in this game. And I want to give a huge shout out to JC because I know that he's done these type of videos first. I don't think he's done a tier list yet or like obtainable cards at a certain position, but I do see that he does like top 10 best obtainable point guards, and I think it's a really cool idea, and I think it's a great idea. So shout out to him for obviously giving me the inspiration to make this video. But basically what he means and what I mean is these are the best obtainable point guards. Now, are these the best point guards in the game? Some of them are, but for example, is a Jokic invincible card obtainable? Is a Shea obtainable? No, right? For a majority of the player base. Is 100 overall Ben Simmons obtainable? No, right? If we take a look at the shooting guard point guards, is invincible Jimmy Butler obtainable for most people? No. So this tier list is not going to have the best of the best point guards in this game, like a James Harden, a Jimmy Butler, a Nikola Jokic, obviously, who can play center and point guard, right? Like, it's not going to include these type of top tier best point guards in the game, but there's still going to be some point guards in here that are really, really good and can compete with those top tier point guards. But this is going to be, as of right now, the best obtainable point guards in this game on a tier list of who I think is the best. So the cards in S tier are going to be affordable, number one, or you can grind for them for completely free, like Josh Giddey. So I'm not going to be including old past festival cards, like for example Dark Matter Jason Kidd. If you have that card, he is really, really good, but he's not obtainable anymore in my team, where Josh Giddey you can get right now from the Glitch Festival. So hopefully you guys like this type of style of video. Again, shout out to JC for obviously more so coming up with this idea, but I do think it's a really helpful idea to let you guys know what are the best point guards in this game that are actually obtainable, right? Because who's going to get invincible Nikola Jokic or Jimmy Butler and these crazy names? So hopping into the first point guard here is going to be Pink Diamond KPJ. I think for like an affordable point guard tier list, he's probably obtainable, affordable, whatever you want to call it. I think he's probably like a C or a B tier. He's a solid point guard. I don't think he's anything like spectacular, but I also don't think he's necessarily bad. I would say KPJ is, again, for this obtainable tier list, probably going to be in B tier. I will say Dark Matter Josh Giddey is probably one of the best obtainable point guards in this game, and he probably is the best obtainable point guard. He's a 6'8" point guard with a 7-foot wingspan. He actually has a good jump shot and amazing dribble sigs. Like, this is such a good point guard that if you guys can grind from the Glitch Festival, he's only 8 Dark Matter pieces, which everybody can get, no money spent, for completely free. This is the card that I definitely recommend at point guard. His sigs are amazing with the Garland behind the back, the Trey escape, the Garland size up, the Devin Booker dribble style. Like, just such an amazing point guard who's like a top 10 PG when we're also including the best point guards in this game. He's top 10 and he can compete with the best point guards in my team. So I think easily going to be in that S tier category. Talking about Dark Matter GP, I don't think he's like the best of the best anymore, but I do think he's really close. Like, I think he's a great point guard. You also have to factor in price for this list, right? So for example, a card that's only 5,000 MT, if I think they're like on the same level as a Gary Payton, then I'm not going to put Gary Payton in S tier because, he's still really, really good, 100%, and he's not that expensive, but I don't think he's like the upper echelon best obtainable point guards in my team. Talking about Dyson Daniels, that's what I mean. Like, I think for obtainable cards for 20k compared to the 100,000 MT that Gary Payton goes for, which I'm just looking on Xbox and Gary Payton actually is a buy now price. So, 20k compared to 100k, Gary Payton, you could argue, is the better point guard. I would say low-key Dyson's probably the better point guard just because of his size at the point guard position. 6'7" at the 1, 6'11" wingspan. The defense is top tier, 99 steal, 97 perimeter, 92 block, 90 interior defense. Like, for his price, for his value, I think he's probably the better obtainable point guard just because more people can afford this card, and I do think he's probably more worth his price. So I do think Dyson Daniels is going to be an S tier. Derek White is really good. I think Derek White is probably A tier. He's a free card. You got to remember, you can get this card for basically pretty much free and not having to do that insane of grinding. So I do think he's probably an A tier because he's got a really good jump shot and he's great defensively. Like, if you compare Derek White to Gary Payton, I don't think there's like that much of a difference. I'm sure Gary Payton's probably slightly better for sure, but they're both 6'4" with a 6'7" wingspan. Derek White weighs 10 pounds more. We take a look at the stats. I mean, slightly better defensively for Gary Payton. He's got like plus 10 driving dunk. Derek White actually has a higher 3 ball. Like, their stats are very similar. Their badges, yeah, sure, maybe you want to give the slight edge to Gary Payton. Animations wise, I mean, I don't know, I'd make the argument that Derek White's jump shot's better, but I could see the argument for Gary Payton's being better. And then dribble sigs wise, like, the Trae Young escape is better than the James Harden escape. Garland behind the back is much better than DeMar behind the back. D-Mitch size up is better than Paul George size up, in my opinion. I would probably take Devin Booker dribble style over De'Aaron Fox dribble style. But like what I'm saying again is free point guard compared to 100,000 MT point guard. Who's more worth it in my opinion? I think Derek White for a majority of the player base. So I do think both these cards going to be in the A tier category. Talking about Tyler Hero, I think for his price is probably C tier. He's like over 100k and he's just not that great of a card if we're being completely honest. 6'5" point guard, 6'3" wingspan. I mean, that wingspan is killer. Like that's just not going to help him out whatsoever. I don't know. I think he's like a good card, but again, for 5,000 MT, I'd rather KPJ in my lineup than spending 100,000 MT plus on Tyler Hero. Talking about Dark Matter LaMelo, sort of same thing. I mean, LaMelo is by no means a bad point guard whatsoever. LaMelo is still good. He's still got a good jump shot, but I don't think he's worth his price, and he's a little bit more on the expensive side. So I don't think he's as obtainable as a card like KPJ, a Derek White for free, a Dyson Daniels, right? A Josh Giddey. Those cards are a lot more obtainable in my opinion, and are also better at the point guard position. Caruso is interesting. I think Caruso is probably also A tier. He kind of gives me those Derek White, Gary Payton vibes. I mean, when Caruso first came out, he was basically just a budget Gary Payton because he was only like 70k, where Gary Payton was still probably I think 200, 300k at that point in the game when Caruso first came out. So he was like the budget version. Now they're actually similar in price, and I think Gary Payton is still the better point guard. By not a ton, but I do think he's the better point guard. But I would say Caruso is still going to be in that A tier category. He is really, really good for his price. Talking about Sasha, I can never pronounce his last name, Vucic. God damn, bro, I can't pronounce words. But I do think Sasha is really good at point guard. Again, for his price, I think he's more obtainable than a LaMelo Ball and a Tyler Hero. Do I think he's better than LaMelo? No. But I do think he's a lot more obtainable for the majority of the player base because he's like 5,000 MT. Talking about Galaxy Ty Jerome, I would say he's A tier. I mean, his SIGs are literally insane. Like, he's got some of the best dribble SIGs in my team for a 6'5" point guard. He's got the Darius Garland dribble style, the Steve Francis size up, the Curry escape, the trade behind the back. He's got one of the best motion styles in the game, which is Caruso. He's also got Pro 2 fade. His jump shot, though, is the big concern about this card, and he definitely doesn't have that great of a jump shot, and that's something that for sure holds this card back. But if you just take a look at the SIGs and the animations besides his jump shot, they are top level. And you know, his defensive stats are not great when it comes to the block rating, but the steal and perimeter is really good. Also the interior defense, again, he's completely free, but do think he's going to be an A tier when it comes to the best obtainable point guards in the game. Now talking about Stephon Castle, I think for his price is one of the best point guards in this entire game. He's a card that I think is affordable and obtainable for a majority of the player base because he only goes for I think like 200k at this stage in my team. I'm checking on Xbox right now. I think for like a base one, you can easily find him for under 200k. So yes, he might be one of the most expensive cards on this tier list, but he's also one of the best point guards on this tier list. So I do think he's obtainable, he's affordable for a majority of the player base, and he's really good at the point guard position. His defense is top tier. I like his jump shot, and I do think his dribble SIGs are very solid. Jeremy Lin, he's like another C tier card. I don't think he's worth his price necessarily, but he's not a horrible point guard. Like, he's definitely very solid at the point guard position. Russell Westbrook, I think, is probably also in C tier. Again, not a card that I would recommend picking up and adding to your guys' team. I think they're overpriced cards that just really aren't worth it, but he's not bad at the point guard position. Tyrese Halliburton, I would say, is probably that tier below. I don't think Tyrese Halliburton is as good as a LaMelo Ball, Jeremy Lin, or Russ, or a Tyler Hero, and he's also very expensive as well. Now, Dark Matter Luka, I think when we're talking about obtainable point guards, we're talking about the top tier point guards in this game. He can be both. I mean, he's obtainable, but he's also a top tier point guard. Like, he's still a debatably top 15 point guard in this game for like 200k, 250. So he's a little bit more expensive than a Stephon Castle, and maybe Stephon Castle is better, but I do think that's a debate to be made because he's pretty much like his 100 overall card. And I'm looking on Xbox right now, and there's one selling for like 200k with like 4 minutes left and has 2 legend badges. So I'm pretty sure a base one would go for like 250 or less. And again, he's obtainable. That's not too expensive of a price. And Luka is still a very good point guard because of his jump shot, his size at the point guard position. Yes, he doesn't have great dribble SIGs, but he's still one of the best point guards in my team, you know, besides his SIGs. And I think for his price is going to be an S tier. Talking about John Wall, I like this card a ton. And the reason why I'm not going to put him much higher than B tier is because you do have to spend money to get this card. So he is obtainable in the sense of that you can spend money and get this card, but I don't think that it's worth spending the money to get just John Wall. Now, to get all the stuff you get in the Pro Pass, you get the better Tim Duncan, all the Dark Matter packs, I think could be, you know, considered worth it. But I think for John Wall, he's probably going to be in B tier. Damian Lillard, Just don't think is worth his price. Gonna throw him in D tier. Anthony Black is really good. I think Anthony Black is really good for his price. Again, like 5,000 MT. And you could argue is better than a LaMelo. You could argue he probably is better than a Russell Westbrook. He's better than a Jeremy Lin at the point guard position. Justice Winslow is probably like a C tier card. He's not as good as a KPJ, a John Wall, Sasha, or an Anthony Black, but he's also not as bad as like a Damian Lillard, Tyrese Halliburton, and he also only goes for like 5,000 MT, probably 3,000 MT now because he's a diamond card. So I do think C tier is probably a fair spot for Justice Winslow. Talking about Dark Matter, Chris Paul, again, just not worth his price whatsoever. He's going to be in D tier. Zach LaVine for an affordable, obtainable point guard, I would say is A. He's not like a top tier point guard in this game, and he is a little bit overpriced. Is he a buy now at this stage in my team? I want to quickly check his price, because if he's a buy now, that's definitely a lot better for this card. I think he's like right around that buy now price of 100,000 MT, but I do think he's still really good offensively. If you guys watch the No Money Spent, I absolutely love Zach LaVine on the No Money Spent series. I think Jrue Holiday is also A tier. He is expensive. I do believe he's still around that 100k MT range. He might be a little bit lower than 100k, so I'm just going to quickly check his price. Wow. Yo, Jrue Holiday is 40k? Yo, he might be S tier, dude. I'm going to say he's S tier because he's like a Caruso, Gary Payton level of point guard, but he's 40k. Yeah, Jrue Holiday is S tier, man. Holy, I did not expect him to be that cheap. Jrue Holiday is really good at the point guard position. He's great defensively with a really good jump shot. John Morant just not worth his price. Gonna throw him in D tier. Honestly, I guess C tier because he's kind of the same as Russell Westbrook. Lou Dort is good. I don't think he's as good as the cards at A, but he's a very solid point guard. You know, I'm gonna put him in B tier, especially for being free. Delano Banton, I mean, when it comes to obtainable, when it comes to affordable, you're not going to get much better than Delano Banton. I'm going to throw him in that high A tier category. I think Anthony Morrow is solid. Going to throw him in B tier. Manu Ginobili is really good. He's kind of on that same level as like a, you know what? He's probably S, man. He is so good at point guard. He's only 100,000 MT. He's better than Zach LaVine. He's better than Gary Payton. I think he's affordable. He's obtainable, and he's really, really good for that price. I think AJ Johnson is good as well, kind of on that Anthony Morrow level. They both have the same base and pretty much the same jump shot. And then Dante Exum, I would say, is probably also going to be in that B tier category. So hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. Let me know what you guys think about my tier list. I hope you guys can understand the concept of this tier list and these style of videos. I think they're really helpful for you guys to know. If you're not able to get the top tier point guards in this game that are millions and millions of MT, or you have to have 28 invincible event pieces to get Jokic or Jimmy Butler, right? If you're not able to get those cards, which I know a lot of people aren't, these are the point guards that I think are the best that are obtainable. I think a majority of the player base can rock out with Manu Ginobili and Josh Giddey as their 2 point guards, or Dyson Daniels and Josh Giddey as their 2 point guards, or Delano Banton and Caruso as their 2 point guards. And this is sort of the ranking for that, so you guys can know for affordable prices, obtainable cards, what are the best cards in my team at the point guard position. Let me know what you guys think about these style of videos. Would you guys want to see this tier list for shooting guards, power forwards, small forwards, centers? Let me know down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.